K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com. K98talk.com, a leader in internet radio. So grab your seatbelts and take the ride of your life on K98talk.com.
You're on the 405. Wait for it. Wait for it.
Why?
You know what time it is, so sit back and get ready for the Stafford Voice, your dose of conservative in a world of liberal.
3, 2, 1.
Hello and good evening. How you doing tonight? I am your host, Daniel Stafford, and you are listening to the Stafford Voice, where we are conservative in a world of liberal. Tonight, I'm going to kind of deviate from what we normally do, and it's going to be kind of a SITREP. If you don't know what a SITREP is, a SITREP is an old military term. It's a shortened, condensed version of the term situation report. So we're gonna. I want to give you my SITREP on ISIS, on the Islamic State. But before we do that, I want to remind you that there are many ways to listen. So set the channel as a favorite, whatever you have to do, so you don't get left behind. And for some strange, crazy reason you do miss the show, you can catch the replay. So just sit tight. There's no need to panic. I got you. And if you are not already following on social media, by all means, please do so. Find me on Twitter, at Stafford Voice. You can look me up on Facebook as well. Just search for the Stafford Voice. Also, while you're out there in the social media Twitterverse and Facebooks, look up and follow Politainment as well. You can stay up to date on anything and everything at thestaffordvoice.com. Also, Politainment.net. If you haven't heard, we've got some awesome new contributors. We're already getting incredible feedback from what they're doing, so you need to go out and send them some love. Also, be sure to send some of that love, if you got a little bit extra, to the station here at the 405. I'm pretty sure they would greatly appreciate it. At the 405 Radio on the Twitterverse, or in the interwebs, you can go to none other than the405media.com. Okay, now, like I said at the start, we're going to kind of deviate from what we normally do, but not too far. We're going to kind of mix things up. Tonight is the situation report on Islamic State. I think it's important. Now, there's so much stuff out there about it. I got a couple of sound bites for you. Unfortunately, one of them is a little lengthy, so I will have to ask you to kind of sit back and relax, and, maybe you need to take some medicine, because I will warn you going into it, it is a rather lengthy soundbite from MSNBC, and I'm a little shocked that a clear thought is able to come out of MSNBC, but we'll get to that here in just a minute. Speaking of clear thoughts, surprisingly enough, I'm clear-headed tonight after I pretty much whacked my head on the ground. A little about that is, as many of you know, I I'm still in college. I'm basically just starting. It's never too late to go out and get an education, right? And besides, you should never stop learning about anything. Well, tonight in class, it was towards the end, and I had to get up and go do something. And we've got these folding chairs, and they're on carpet. They don't slide very well. So picture this, I'm tired. My mind isn't where it's at. I've hardly slept in the last 24 hours. My mind has just been so racked on this Islamic State situation. But, here it is. I'm trying to focus on class, and I'm trying to compartmentalize a couple of thoughts in my brain, and I go to get up. I go to scoot the chair back. I didn't scoot it back far enough, and I slipped. I stumbled onto the edge of the folding chair, and as you can very well imagine, it was probably not the most beautiful or eloquent way to start a gymnastic career, but I did stick the landing. I made it all the way to the ground in one piece, but I felt like a total idiot. It didn't matter. I jumped up and I said, okay, I stuck the landing. I threw my arms up in the air, and I really was hoping for a couple of people in class to, hold up a piece of paper that said like 8.5 or a 9 or something for sticking the landing, but it doesn't matter. So let me continue. I've got a quote here from Voltaire. Most of you know him from his poetry and some of his various other writings. And he got a little more politically active, I guess you could say, the further on he went in life. And this is just one of the things that he said. And maybe it's going to kind of set the mood for the evening. But he said this. He was talking about religious intolerance. So I think it's rather fitting. He says, quote, "Human law must in every case be based on natural law. All over the earth the great principle of both is, do not unto others what you would that they do not unto you." So basically he's saying, the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So continuing. Now, in virtue of this principle, one man cannot say to another, quote, "Believe what I believe, and what thou canst not believe, or thou shalt perish." Unquote. Thus do men speak in Portugal, Spain, and Goa. In some other countries, they are now content to say, quote, "Believe, or I detest thee. Believe, or I will do thee all the harm I can. Monster, thou sharest not my religion, and therefore hast no religion. Thou shalt be a thing of horror to thy neighbors, thy city, and thy province." Unquote. The supposed right of intolerance is absurd and barbaric. Again, that's laying out what we've seen over the last few weeks. And it's been a while since I've really gone in depth on the Islamic State. I don't have a soft spot in my heart for them. I honestly don't really have anything nice to say about them. But nonetheless, I'm going to say a few things. So maybe we just need to start out with a couple of sound bites, and then we'll go into the meat and potatoes of everything. But if you haven't done so, what I'll send out the link a little later. It's the link to the article that The Atlantic put out. Fascinating article. Absolutely great write-up of so many different avenues that a lot of people really aren't touching on. And I hope that I can touch on some of those tonight. But, and this one right here that you're getting ready to hear will qualify for our Who Said That. So nonetheless, it again, people out there in the world we know are so stupid that we can't insult them. They are literally so stupid that we cannot insult them. They are an insult to themselves. So let's hear. Let's hear the soundbite from Marie Harf on the Islamic State.
Well, how do we win? How do we stop this? I don't see it. I see the militias from the Shia militias coming out of Baghdad who are all Shia. The Sunnis hate them. The Sunnis are loyal to ISIS rather than going in with the Shia. You've got the Kurds, the Jordanian Air Force, and now the Egyptian Air Force. But I don't see any. If I were ISIS, I wouldn't be afraid right now. I didn't figure there's no existential threat to these people. They can keep finding places where they can hold executions and putting the camera work together, getting their props ready, and killing people for show. And nothing we do right now seems to be directed at stopping this.
Well, I think there's a few stages here. Right now, what we're doing is trying to take their leaders and their fighters off the battlefield in Iraq and in Syria. That's really where they've flourished.
Are we killing enough of them?
We're killing a lot of them, and we're going to keep killing more of them. So are the Egyptians, so are the Jordanians. They're in this fight with us. But we cannot win this war by killing them. We cannot kill our way out of this war. We need, in the longer term, medium and longer term, to go after the root causes that leads people to join these groups, whether it's lack of opportunity for jobs.
We're not going to be able to stop that in our lifetime or 50 lifetimes. There's always going to be poor people. There's always going to be poor Muslims. And as long as there are poor Muslims, the trumpet's blowing. They'll join. We can't stop that, can we?
We can work with countries around the world to help improve their governance. We can help them build their economy so they can have job opportunities for these people. You're right. There is no easy solution in the long term to preventing and combating violent extremism. But if we can help countries work at the root causes of this, what makes these 17-year-old kids pick up an AK-47 instead of try to start a business? Maybe we can try to chip away at this problem while at the same time going after the threat, taking on ISIL in Iraq, in Syria, and helping our partners around the world. I mean, we've seen these horrific pictures from Europe.
This sounds like we're going to get rid of juvenile delinquency in America over time by erasing poverty, improving education.
Okay, I'm shaking my head in disbelief. How in God's creation can someone be that freaking stupid to think that these Islamic State fighters are out there killing people, cutting their heads off, spilling their blood into the ocean, throwing people off of the top of buildings, setting them on fire, for crying out loud? Who in their right freaking mind told this idiot that they're doing this because they don't have jobs? Like, oh my God, this is just freaking hilarious. I mean, you think this is funny? No, it's not funny. They want jobs, okay? Oh, are you... Oh, God, you freaking bimbo. You know, okay, maybe the blonde has just gone to her head. Unfortunately, this idiot gives blondes a bad name. Oh, my freaking word. That was Chris Matthews. That was Marie Harf on MSNBC with Chris Matthews. And Chris Matthews is actually giving something that sounds like common sense. It wasn't a tingly type of feeling that crawled up his leg. The only tingly feeling I got was when I banged my head on a freaking wall because she said something so ignoramus. Yes, Marie Harf, I'm sorry. That is exactly what we've got to do. We need to go out there and we've got to be able to send. We need an international jobs program. International jobs program. That would just be fan-freaking-tastic, you dumbass. Oh, Jesus criminy. Somebody out there has to have some sort of common sense. Let's see. Here's another soundbite from Colonel Peters talking about Marie Harf to on Fox. Let's see. He sums it up pretty damn good.
All right. Among all of the stupid things that I think I have heard about radical Islam, the State Department jobs program has to be ranked the highest among them. I mean, because if that's their mentality, Colonel, then maybe we should give people free housing, terrorist housing, and maybe we should get them Ferraris and Obamacare. I've seen a lot of terrorists on TV that need dental work, maybe free dental care. Maybe that'll make them like us, because that seems to be the mindset. What's your reaction to that comment?
Well, let's really unpack what Marie Harf said. And Sean, Marie Harf is Exhibit A for the comprehensive failure of the U.S. educational system. That woman has a master's degree in international relations from the University of Virginia. Moms and dads, save your money. Now, what she was saying today about jobs, terrorists just need jobs, then we give them union cards and a path to citizenship? I mean, Osama bin Laden was wealthy. Major Hassan, the Fort Hood butcher, he had a job, as I recall. He's a major in the Army. Do you think the guy in Copenhagen this last weekend, when he pulled the trigger trying to kill a cartoonist and as many other Danes as he could, was he screaming jobs, jobs, jobs? No, he's screaming Allahu Akbar. I mean, this is sheer idiocy. But the other thing she said in the same interview is, we can't kill our way out of a war. Hey, Marie, war is about killing. You get out of wars by killing enough of the other guys so that they either quit or they're gone. They're dead. They're gone. They're finished.
Okay, that was Colonel Peters talking about Marie Harf's comments on how we need this. I can't even come up with an intelligible word other than these stupid, ignorant-ass international jobs program. Yes, they're upset. Are you freaking kidding me? They're upset because they don't have a job. That's why they want to kill us. That's why they want to cut our heads off. That's why they want to throw people off of a building. That's why they're out there raping and doing unheard of things to 8, 9, 10-year-old little girls. That's why they don't have a freaking job. Don't have a job, my ass. This is fundamental to their ideology. Fundamental to the core of what their ideology is. We're going to go into depth on that here after a bit. But it's important to highlight this stuff because these are the people out there in the face. They are the ones in your face. They're the ones on the radio waves. They are this stuff gets sent all over the damn world, and these people see what we say. We get up there and say that we need an international jobs program. Hell, I thought they were just upset because they had small medulla oblongatas. No, it's because, mama said it's because they got all them teeth and they ain't got no way to brush them. Are you freaking kidding me? Let's just send them, let's do that. Let's just box up all our damn extra toothbrushes that we haven't used or we've overused and send them over there, and maybe they'll quit cutting our freaking heads off, you dumb. I don't want to say the B word. I'm not going to say it. She's not even worth it. You know, absolutely unreal. This educated... Okay, I'm not going to call her educated because she's freaking ignorant on the issues. But this dingbat has a freaking master's degree. A master's degree. I know kids in grade school that get this stuff. In foreign relations. Oh my freaking word. You know what? If they just want to kill us, you know what? Maybe we just need to shut them up. So let's kind of transition for just a second, and let's talk about a couple of different ways we can go about the Islamic State. One of them is just all-out onslaught war. Let's kind of see, you know what? Let's see what Oliver North. Oliver North is pretty respected when it comes to talking about war, and for right reasons. I mean, very decorated veteran, and so let's see what he's got to say, shall we?
Well, the barbarians are at the gates. They made it very clear. In fact, the title, as Catherine was just pointing, of this horrific video is Taking the Fight to the Land of the Cross. The Pope realizes that. He says that they were murdered only because they were Christians. The White House can't even acknowledge that they were anything but, quote, Egyptian civilians.
Is that what they called them today?
That's what the White House said. Now,
I missed that today. That's incredible.
President al-Sisi asked for American intelligence, targeting intelligence, before he led the strikes today. Didn't get it. King Abdullah of Jordan asked for intelligence data on targets to respond to the murder of a Jordanian aircraft pilot.
Well, the Kurds asked for support, too. The Kurds asked for support.
Begging for arms and ammo from the United States. Not one bullet has been delivered by the United States. And finally, the Italians are now looking at this, as Catherine just pointed out, as a literally existential threat to Western ideals, values, the Judeo-Christian system under which we've existed for 2,000 years.
I don't know what could be more obvious. I mean, these Christians were killed because they're Christians. And I mean, and we're looking at the deaths, but they've been bombing churches, Christian churches, and everything else.
Look at al-Baghdadi, the head of ISIS, has told his followers to kill Christians, Jews, police, and military families. And that's what they're doing. They've done that all over Iraq, and they've done it all over Syria. They're trying to do it some in the United States. They've threatened U.S. military families here in the United States. The barbarians are here. Here's the interesting thing. In his request for an authorization for use of military force, AUMF, Mr. Obama puts a 3-year limit on how long this could continue. I would point out to you, Mr. Obama, we know you're going to be well protected for the rest of your life. The rest of us aren't. And the reality of what's going on right now is it's going to take more than air power, little pinpricks. It's going to take rough men with rifles to take back territory and the leadership of ISIS to be obliterated. That's what it's going to take, and we're not doing it.
Colonel North, thank you, sir.
Okay, he touched on a couple of things there, and that we'll talk about, and that is territory. It's about the onslaught of just war. And the unfortunate thing about it is war is freaking ugly, people. It is. It's sad that people have to die because of things. But war is war, and people die. It sucks. That is the nasty part about it, that people die. But people die from cancer. People die from abortions. Veterans are committing suicide because, hell, we don't give them the right care when they come home. But this goes back to the fundamental underlying issues of Islam. And in the next soundbite, which, like I had warned you earlier, is pretty lengthy, but it's an excellent bit of dialogue from MSNBC. And unfortunately, yes, I did put myself through having to listen to some MSNBC, but it was important because it's fantastic dialogue. But fundamental to the Islamic State is their simplicity in their ideology. When I say simplicity in ideology, what I'm saying is it goes back to the beginnings of Islam. What we are witnessing today is what they did at the start of Islam. They didn't denounce it then, and they are no way they are going to denounce it now. So you're going to ask yourself, why is it that other Muslims are not coming out of the woodworks and being ready to, and wanting to shut these people down? Why? They're scared. They are petrified. For them, it's a double-edged sword. If they go against those who claim that they are Islamic State, if they go against them, they risk dying. They risk getting their head cut off or being burned to death. If you go with Islamic State, then you are part of them. You just became one of their foot soldiers. That's why we see things the way we do today, because you can't shut them down. The only way to have shut them down was to stop them when they first started. It's the only way. When we had, over the last 6 years, when you look at the Obama administration, and yes, I'm putting Obama on the spot because this comes back to him. It does. I don't care who you are. The American involvement with the Islamic State falls on the shoulders of Barack Hussein Obama and nobody else. Why? Because when he was out campaigning to become president, he said that us being over there was dumb. We didn't need to be over there. When he comes into office, he's gonna bring all the troops home. Let me be clear. We're gonna bring them home. We're gonna do it, and we're gonna do it, and we're gonna do it, and we're gonna do it well. It's what I do. I got a pen, and I'm not afraid to use it. He is sympathetic to the Muslims because he understands them better than anybody else. Aside from maybe whatever that one broad's name is. I can't even think of her name right now. But nobody in the Obama administration understands fundamental ideology of the Islamic State, or Islam for that matter, like he does. That's why he says we need to have dialogue. We need to sit down and we need to talk. We've got to talk about these things. So, that's what we've got to do. We've got to talk about it. And there's so many different things that are at play here. There really are. And, when we come back from a break, let's continue this. Let's continue what I think we need to do. Again, you're listening to Daniel Stafford here on the Stafford Voice on the 405. We'll be right back.
Russia and Putin are dominating on the world stage. Radical Islamists have taken over almost every country in the Middle East and are killing all around the world. They have also taken huge swaths of Africa, North Africa, and beyond. Economies in Europe are in trouble. The U.S. dollar loses value almost every day. Our country is in trouble. Don't believe the left, ladies and gentlemen. It's not over.
Cold War Radio, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, on the 405media.com.
We're gonna spread freedom. Obama's gonna change it. Obama's gonna lead 'em. We're gonna
So let me be clear.
change it.
If you got a business, you didn't build that.
Everything he's done is clean as a whistle. He's never not only broken any law, he's never done anything wrong. He's the perfect father, the perfect husband, the perfect American.
Hey y'all, this is Sam Janney, or the Bunny as many of you know me by, your friendly neighborhood bad girl of conservatism. Here to talk to you about my show. I'll talk about conservative issues, my top 10 douchebags of the week, and have some pretty badass conservative guests on the show. All that, plus me, your resident bunny with a chainsaw.
Thursday nights will never be the same. It's Unapologetically Bunny, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on the 405. A show that will change internet radio as you know it.
Here come the Spa Dolphins.
I sold my food stamp money for Doritos and wheat.
I call them the Mary-Kate and Ashley of outrage.
Bras are completely racist. End all bras.
A show that is different from those that aren't so different. Real serious nonsense. Thursdays, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on the 405. Back when he was in grade school, the only crayons he ever cared about were the red one, the white one, and the blue one. The Stafford Voice.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. I am Daniel Stafford of the Stafford Voice, where we are conservative in a world of liberal. Now, as you know, I love to read. History is one of those things that I think more people need to read. And I will admit that, I think the Obama administration needs to brush up on some of their history. And maybe one of the ways that they can do that is with this little app that you can put on your phone or your tablet or whatever other mobile device you've got. It's called Audible. Maybe you've heard of it. I mean, I personally don't have a lot of time that I can just sit there, pick up a book, and read it. So what I do is I grab my phone, I throw in some earbuds, and I pull up an audiobook. You can be driving down the road, cutting the grass, going to the bathroom. Hey, just listen, okay, about the bathroom thing. Don't believe it. Don't do that. Because you don't want to drop your phone in the toilet. Then, because every time you talk on the phone, it gives it a funny smell. But with Audible.com, you can get caught up on all the books you want to read but can't. And like I said, if you're like me, you love to read, now is the time you need to get Audible. You need a subscription to Audible. And as a listener of the 4-hour Politainment Hour, you get a free 30 days, no strings attached trial to Audible.com. And you're going to get a free book. And listen to this, because Audible is part of Amazon, there are like hundreds and thousands of books to choose from. I mean, you can even get the newest releases. Okay, so this is all you got to do to go out and get the deal. You give you two different ways. You can go to polititainment.net and just click the Audible banner. Or you can go to audibletrial.com/polititainment. Again, that is audibletrial.com/polititainment. You'll get a free 30-day no strings attached trial, and you'll get one free book to where you can just test out Audible and see how awesome it is. Maybe you can brush up on your history, so when these ignoramuses over in the Obama administration start talking, you are completely brushed up on all the stuff you need to know. Because, look, history repeats itself all the time. It really does. So, about where we were earlier, this is what we're witnessing. We are witnessing history repeat itself over again. So what we see now with the Islamic State is what we witnessed at the start of Islam. They went around, they cut people's heads off. They crucified them. These things were acceptable to them. If you were doing these things, you were following Allah. You were doing something that was inspired by the Prophet Muhammad. So, what do? Well, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, that I've got to break the news, but we are on the cusp of World War III. This is the start of it. It's going to be the only way that we can combat the Islamic State. It is going to be a multi-front, multi-nation, multifaceted fight. And to understand how to fight them, you have to understand what is important to them. What is important to them is leadership. It is knowing that in order for them to further their caliphate, they have to have a stronghold on an area. You take out those two things, and you can pretty much watch their structure crumble. Those are the two main things. For their caliphate to succeed, they are already succeeding. They've been winning this war for a while now. You look at how much ground they've been able to cover. We've already talked about that already. You're either with them or against them. They don't care if you are Christian. They don't care if you're Jewish. They don't even care if you're Muslim. If you don't get on their side, they are going to wax your ass. You're done. So for what is going on here? They have established a caliphate in the eyes of the Islamic State, ISIS, ISIL, Daesh, whatever you want to call them. If you want to take them, to shut them down, you have to understand this. They have already established their caliphate. They already have the structure in place. The structure is this. They already have a leader. There are some out there, some quote unquote leaders in the Muslim community, in the Islamic community, that say he doesn't qualify. It doesn't matter what they say. They're going against him. The other fundamental thing to them is making sure they have a stronghold on a piece of land, on an area. Do they not already have something? Look at Iraq. Do they not already control portions of Iraq? What about Syria? What about Libya? We watched 21 Coptic Christians get beheaded and and watch their blood be spilled into the sea. These are prophetic messages that they are trying to send. And if you are blind to what they are doing, you need to wake the hell up. Because they in their video, that's what they were talking about. going to Rome, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are going to travel the 200 to 300 mile distance in the sea to go to the shores of Italy. It does not necessarily mean that. Rome is symbolic of the Western culture. They are ready to attack. They are ready to take you out. They don't care how old you are. They don't care about your religion. You're either with them or you're against them. So when we have a sympathetic commander-in-chief that is sympathetic to these guys, refusing to call them what they are, because that's what they are. They are a radical Islamic sect. I'm not an Islamic scholar, so I'm not going to make the claim that they are out there perverting Islam. I don't fully understand it. And in the famous words of Hillary Clinton, at this point, what difference does it make? What we need to understand is that they are at war with us. We have to finally admit that we are at war with them. We have to have a multinational coalition. Right now, the only way that we can combat them is by way of that. You know, at the beginning of the year, yeah, I know, the Egyptian President al-Sisi talked about how Islam needs to go through a reformation. I mean, I'm parsing words a little bit, but that Islam needs to go through a reformation. However, for Islam to go through a fundamental transformation or a reformation of that matter, for that to happen is for them to denounce the whole Islamic tradition, for them to denounce the whole Islamic religion, that is. That's basically saying, look, Muhammad didn't exist. He wasn't really a prophet. It's just some made-up character that we wrote about in a comic book. It would be the equivalent of every single Christian going out there and saying, Jesus, I've never heard of this guy named Jesus Christ. Tell me more about him. I've never heard of him. It'd be the same thing. You're shooting yourself in the foot. So, going forward, what needs to happen is this. We have to go out and we have to be able to create dialogue, and we have to go out there and we have to get a coalition of forces together to combat these people. We've got to be able to sit down with Egypt and we've got to say, look, we dicked you over once and we're not doing it again. What do you need? Do you need fighter jets? Do you need tanks? Do you need guns? How many bullets do you need? They're already on the way. The Peshmerga? What do you need? Write it down. It's already on the way. Consider it done. Do you need a handful of troops? It's what we have to do to win. February 19th. February 19th, 1945. The Battle of Iwo Jima. Today just happens to be February 19th. 70 years since the start of the Battle of Iwo Jima. We took 70,000 Marines and Navy corpsmen, and we went to Iwo Jima. We went for a reason. It was strategic. Not strategic for us. We could have cared less. We couldn't launch an attack from Iwo Jima, from this little 2-mile wide by 400-mile wide little island. No, it was strategic to Japan. But that's what you have to do to win the war. We kicked their ass. On that island, there were 22,060 Japanese fighters. They were freaking warriors. They knew that they were what they were up against. And it didn't matter. They were dug in. They spent months digging tunnels, digging foxholes. They knew that they were getting ready to die. It didn't matter. However, we sent an overwhelming force of U.S. firepower. We dominated their ass. We killed 18,844 of them. We took 216 of them prisoner. Of those Marines or corpsmen, only 6,821 were killed. Only 2 of them were captured, but we recovered them. Now, don't get me wrong. We had almost as many wounded as they had fighting us. Five days later, that immortal picture taken by Joe Rosenthal, the raising of the U.S. flag on the top of Mount Suribachi, is the same mindset we need to have today. It doesn't have to be the U.S. flag, per se, waving as victory. As beautiful as the sight of the American flag is to me, that doesn't matter. This is a war of ideology. This is what these guys think is okay. It's clear to them of what they are doing. Oh. You know, it kind of reminds me of the pride cycle that you read about in the Bible. It really does. The pride cycle, we see, you see periods of ups and you see downs where you go from pride to humility. And you know what? Let's talk a little bit more about that when we come back from a break. This is Daniel Stafford of the Stafford Voice, right here on the 405. We'll be right back.
You're on the 405.
Pissed off, politically speaking.
Joining me now is a national talk treasure. Larry Elder, thanks for being on the show.
Talk treasure. I've been called a lot worse. I appreciate that. He is a national PR and communications expert, editorial columnist, and former aide to 3 U.S. presidents. Scott Jones.
What's going on out there right now and the Obama administration's response to it isn't funny.
I think Obama has made virtually every bad decision, both for our economy and for foreign affairs.
Pissed Off Politically Speaking, with your host Scott Jones, only on the 405media.com, Mondays 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific.
Janine Turner, thanks for being with us.
Oh, it's great. Pleasure. This whole liberal mantra that
these ridiculous things that are being spun in a way that aren't true are very dangerous for our country. We may not be the best country, but show me a better one.
Right.
And we are good.
Join host Scott Jones for Pissed Off Politically Speaking on the 405media.com.
Are you currently waging war against the infidel? Dreaming of the day you can become a martyr and yet Allah Akbar with bombs strapped to your chest? Stop! You don't commit acts of terror over religious fanaticism. You commit acts of terror because you don't feel you have a chance to earn a career. Well, now you can find a career that's right for you at
jihadjobs.com.
At jihadjobs.com, you'll find dream careers like camel breeder, goat shaver, hummus chef, desert realtor, and so much more. You'll also find those careers with competitive pay and other tremendous benefits like extended bereavement time if your family member was a suicide bomber, 48 hours of maternity leave,
Not for women.
and much more. Introduce yourself to another bank besides the West Bank. Stop waging war against the USA and start contributing to your 401k. Stop raping, start reaping the rewards of an exciting career at
jihadjobs.com.
Your new career is just a stone's throw away. jihadjobs.com.
Website is for men only and approved under Sharia law. All women who access the website will be stoned to death. Other restrictions apply. Consult Allah for details.
jihadjobs.com.
Hey everybody, this is Jason, host of According to Me. I'd like to invite you to check out my show. It's a 2-hour show that lasts 60 minutes and...
Listen, I hate to interrupt, but one thing I can do is read off a script. Just say, let me be clear a lot. It works.
President Obama, I can handle this. It's a radio promo. I'm not green. I've done this before.
Did someone say green?
Now, Al Gore is here. Listen, I'm just trying to record a radio promo. Do you mind?
Now, do you say good things about me on the show?
No, not at all. But if it makes you feel any better, I rip on Republicans just as much.
The AM radio frequencies give off very high levels of radiation.
Look, my show is on the internet, which you invented. Can I just do my promo?
I got a pen. I can veto that, you know.
I know you got a pen. It's not a law. It's a radio promo. Listen, just listen to my show. Barack Obama and Al Gore hate it, so you're going to love it.
Here's an executive order. Don't listen to his show. He doesn't like me. He's racist. And he doesn't recycle either.
That's it. I'm done. It's According to Me, Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here at the 405. We've done the research. He is the long-lost brother of Flava Flav. The Stafford Boys, boy!
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. I am Daniel Stafford, host of the Stafford Voice, where we are conservative in a world of liberal. Now, I want to tell you this. I want to tell you a story. It's a funny story. It's got a great, great ending. But, so, I overheard that the other day, this ISIS commander was standing there and he was talking to his guys. You know, they're trying to figure out what they're going to do. Where are they going to go? Who are they going to chop off the head to next? Well, as they're standing there, they hear this voice come across the other side of the mountain that they're standing on, that they're standing near. And from the other side of this mountain, they hear this voice, and he yells out, "One Marine is better than 10 ISIS soldiers." Well, this ISIS dude stands there just bewildered. He's totally thrown off. And so he grabs 10 guys and he says, "All right, boys, make me proud." Well, a few seconds go by after a couple of gunshots, and the Marine shouts back. He says, "One Marine is better than 100 ISIS guys." Well, after about an hour of gunfight, after, you know, because the Nimwad didn't learn his lesson the first time, he sent the 100 guys over, and after about an hour or so, the guy, the voice from the other side of the mountain yells back over, "One Marine is better than 1,000 ISIS soldiers." Well, I'm telling you, these guys are idiots, because this ISIS commander, well, he didn't really have enough soldiers to fulfill the 1,000 people, okay? But so But he goes out and he recruits a couple hundred guys real quick, and he says, hey, I got a mission. Can you help me out? So he sends over 1,000 guys, and after about 2 or 3 hours of some of the most extreme, intense gunfighting that these ISIS guys would ever witness, after 2 or 3 hours of this, one of these ISIS guys they see him crawling back over the mountain, and he yells over in what appears to be his last few seconds of life. He yells out, "It's a trap! There's 2 of them!" Oh, come on. That was funny, people. Come on. It wasn't true, but it's funny as hell. So, let me get back to what we were talking about earlier. Fundamental to their ideology is that what we're seeing right now is exactly what they want to show us. It is a very, very complicated situation that we find ourselves in. It really, really is. And unfortunately, it's gotten to this point because of failures in the Obama administration. Failure to take action over the last 6 years. And these guys, they have their marching orders, and they're just going to continue to do what they want to do. And like I said before we went to break, it reminds me of the pride cycle that we see in the Bible. You know, the pride versus humility thing, where the group of there's a group of people, they get so proud because of where they're at in life. They have anything and everything that they could want. So pride starts taking over, and humility gets tossed out to the wayside. And next thing you know, they realize that they're not as blessed as they once used to be. And the only way out of the pride cycle is through humility. We need to humble ourselves. Yes, we are the greatest country that the world has ever seen. We have the greatest fighting force that the world has ever seen. We are 2-0 in world wars. 2-0. Nobody else has that claim. We are the shining city on a hill. I say it all the time, because we are. And yet, I think we've gotten a little too proud. We need to humble ourselves. Our leadership is not as good as they think they are. And when we finally decide to put our heads in the game and figure out how we want to tackle the Islamic State, we are going to humble them into utter destruction. We may not kill them all, but we will take out as many as we have to make it stop. Otherwise, we will see a fulfillment of the prophecy in the Bible of us versus them. I don't know about you, but I've read that book quite a few times, and I know how it ends. And it looks really good for us. Now, unfortunately, I know, the hour went by quick. And that is all the time we've got for this week. And God willing, Stafford Voice will be back next week right here on the 405. Again, if you missed it at the start of the show, you can follow me on the Twitters at Stafford Voice. You can look me up on Facebook by looking for the Stafford Voice. You can email your questions or your comments anytime, night or day, to daniel@polititainment.net. Thank you so much for your time, and until next week, thanks and God bless.
You're on the 405.
The staff of K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network is proud to announce that our very own Rowdy Rick Robinson has been selected as one of the top conservative talk show hosts in the nation for his program America Off the Rails. Again, congratulations to Rowdy Rick Robinson for a job well done and another reason to stay connected to K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network. K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com.